Hey, this is Luphey
This is Chaos.
from the FFd20 Crystal Hub, the official podcast for FFd20, and today we're going to be talking about the fighter job. Fighters are pretty straightforward. They excel at combat, defeating their enemies, controlling the flow of battle, and surviving such sorties themselves, while their specific weapons and methods grant them a wide variety of tactics few can match fighters for sheer battle prowess. Fighters have D10 hit die, and they have full base attack bonus progression. Good fort saves, bad reflex and will. And they've got some pretty standard class skills. You want to go over those, Cal?
Yeah, the fighter's class skills and their key ability skills: acrobatics, climb, craft, handle animal, intimidate, knowledge dungeoneering, profession, ride, survival, and swim. You only get 2 points per level plus their intelligence.
And unfortunately, they don't get perception, which you like to point out so often.
Everybody needs perception. But at least I got dungeoneering. It's kind of.
It's kind of a give or take, I guess.
Yeah.
Fighters are proficient with all simple and martial weapons, and with all armor, light, heavy, and medium, and shields, but not tower shields.
Granted, later talk about their chosen weapon, and that's really all they're going to ever use.
Yep. Whereas in Pathfinder, fighters can basically be a weapon master and mess around with any weapon. The FFd20 fighters are more focused on taking a single weapon and just becoming a powerhouse with that one weapon. You want to start with their limit breaks or just go into their straight up class features?
We can go ahead and hit their limit breaks, get it out of the way.
Alright, so their first limit break is Mighty Strikes. This limit break allows the fighter to make powerful attacks for a duration of 1 round plus 1 round per 4 fighter levels after first. The fighter gains a +1 competence bonus to attack and damage rolls per 4 fighter levels, and all attacks are confirmed critical hits provided that the attacks hit in the first place. If a critical threat was rolled, it doesn't matter because it's already confirmed. Limit break only requires a swift action to activate.
This is the only limit break you need on any melee character ever.
I'm going to be completely honest, I agree with that. It's such a broken limit break for somebody who has full base attack bonus. The Omni Strike doesn't even matter. Sure, you get those extra attacks, but...
Yeah. Anyone with a high crit multiplier on their weapons, as a Farcado or even a Scythe, they're just going to absolutely be like, I don't need those extra attacks when one will hit 4 times.
Oh, yeah. Their second limit break is Omni Strike, which, like we mentioned, is nowhere close to being as overwhelming as Mighty Strikes. This limit break allows the fighter to gain an additional attack using the highest base attack bonus plus an extra attack per 4 fighter levels after first. So when you use this, you'll get 2 attacks regardless, and then for every 4 levels after first, you get a third and a fourth. And these attacks don't require a full round action to use like a normal multiple attack action would require. This limit break also only requires a swift action.
Which is probably its only redeeming factor, is that it can be used when not dealing full attack. If for some reason you're staggered.
Or if you need to move in to make an attack, you can just swift action and get your full round without actually having to full round. Which is okay. I can see its uses, but most of the time you're definitely going to be using Mighty Strikes over Omni Strike.
Yeah.
So, the fighter's bread and butter, chosen weapon. At first level, the fighter chooses a melee weapon, keyword melee, unlike the Pathfinder fighter where you can have any weapon, I believe, as your weapon training. You gain a +1 bonus on attack and damage rolls with your chosen weapon, and the bonus improves by +1 for every 4 levels after first. So by level 17, you'll have a +5 attack and damage bonus for that specific weapon, which is honestly not too bad.
Yep. It's a free weapon focus and specialization that goes up pretty much.
Yep. The second mainstay of the fighter is the fighter talents. You get one at second level, and then every even level afterwards you get another one. Some of them have prerequisites, stats or feats that you're required to take beforehand, and some of them even require other fighter talents to get, but most of them you can just take them right off the bat. What would you say are the most used fighter talents? There's quite a few, so I don't think we really have time to go over every single one of them, but
My personal favorites have always been melee defense, the parry, and depending on the build, I'll go the riposte route. Because you can, especially if you're dual wielding, the melee defense pretty much gives you what 2-weapon defense would give you, but better. And it builds into parry, which makes you a parry tank. As soon as someone successfully hits you, you can attempt to basically make a counterattack roll and just negate the attack altogether. There is some better ones, though, like just a fast movement, just a foot speed increase. And then later you can get another one I like. I believe it's called Metal. Yes, Metal. It basically is Stalwart, but for fighters.
Yeah, the ability to make a will save or a fortitude save as though you basically have evasion is pretty strong, especially when you have really bad will saves to begin with. Go ahead.
Another good one is Rain of Blows, which I know everybody takes, especially people who like the variant multi-class.
While I agree that it's a pretty strong fighter talent, every time I've rolled out a fighter, I don't think I've ever taken Rain of Blows. I just don't like taking that -2 penalty to make more attacks, but that's just me.
Yeah, and that's true, because it doesn't stack with haste, so if you have a form of haste, it does become useless. Well, if you don't have it, it is nice.
Right, so definitely in like a mageless party or in a low magic setting where you won't be getting weapons that give the speed enhancement or whatever, it's definitely got its uses.
Mm.
For me, when it comes to the fighter talents, melee power is one of my more favorite ones just because you get the flat damage increase and you can reroll any ones that you roll on damage with melee weapons. So if you have a melee weapon that has more than 2 die for its damage die, which isn't very often, it becomes really effective at keeping your damage at the higher end of the scale rather than flopping 3 1s with your meager strength bonus.
Mm.
It also works really well on 2-weapon fighting, I think, also just because you're wielding that many more weapons and you have that many more attacks.
Yep.
But it's not a super necessary fighter talent, and it can be easily overshadowed by a lot of the other ones. Like you said, fast movement's really good, mostly just because you get that extra 10 foot of speed, and it doesn't matter what armor you're wearing, you'll still get it. And metal, obviously, really, really strong. I think one of the more overlooked ones is weapon aptitude. If you aren't the kind of person that likes to stick with one weapon throughout an entire campaign, weapon aptitude is nice because you can change your chosen weapon to basically whatever weapon you want so long as you already have the weapon in your possession. All you have to do is spend an hour in practice, basically what you'd spend to prepare spells as like a cleric or a wizard in Pathfinder. So like as soon as you get up, spend that hour to do that, and then you can just change a weapon and you still get all your chosen weapon bonuses to that weapon, and all of your other talents or whatever that you have built up, they'll just affect that weapon. Which doesn't have so many uses, but for the people that don't like to just be shoehorned into a single weapon the entire time they play, it's a nice change. At 3rd level, fighters get overhand chop. All that does is when you make a single attack with your chosen weapon, you get double your strength bonus on damage rolls instead of just, or is it double the normal amount, or is it just double in general?
I think there's always been a debate over it, so...
Because I know on 2-handed weapons you get 1.5 your strength. I think it's just double in general.
I think it's just double in general, so it doesn't matter if you're doing it single-handed, dual-wielding, or 2-handed. It's just going to be just double.
Yeah, which is really, well, I would say it's really effective for dual-wielding, but since it's only on single attacks, I think it's probably more effective for the 2-hander.
That's where the 7th level ability comes in to help with that.
Right, and we'll get to that. At 5th level, they get Reliable Strike, which allows a fighter to reroll an attack roll or a critical hit confirmation roll or a mischance check or even a damage roll as an immediate action, but you have to take the second roll even if it is worse. You can use that ability 3 times and more additional times based on your Constitution modifier. That ability, I don't ever see myself using it that often. There aren't many, I mean, you get a lot of uses out of it, so it's definitely really worthwhile to use it. But a lot of the times when I'm playing a fighter, I forget to use it, I would say. I forget that it's even an ability.
That's same thing. Same here. It's like a good, like a mini temporal hiccup just for them, but it's kind of there, and sometimes we just forget it's actually a thing. Because usually, as far as like attack rolls go, we're gonna hit.
Yeah, and it doesn't say anywhere on the ability when you have to use it, so you could probably even wait until after you're told whether or not you hit or miss to use it, which that does have its
Yeah.
That's pretty good compared to a lot of the other abilities that let you reroll. Usually you have to do the reroll before you find out the result of your check or whatever.
I bet most GMs will probably say that you should declare that before the total is, or the result is given.
Yeah, and I would agree, just because most of the time, if you're using it, by the time you remember to use it, you're probably going to know what you have to hit AC-wise to land a blow anyways
Yeah.
on your flat die roll, so I'd agree with that. You want to do backswing for us?
Yeah, sure. Backswing. At 7th level, when a fighter makes a full attack with his chosen weapon, he has double his strength bonus on damage rolls for all attacks after the first with a handed weapon. 1.5 times his strength bonus with a one-handed weapon and full strength bonus on all offhand attacks.
Right, so this is where the damage bonus from strength really shines if you're doing two dual wielding, mostly because you'll get the two-handed strength bonus basically on your main hand, and you'll still get full strength bonus instead of half on your offhand, which really brings up your damage total for when you're dual wielding.
Though I feel like most people by this level anyways, have already gotten double slice.
Right.
If they're two weapon fighting.
Does double slice do the same thing?
Yeah, it makes it to where they get their full strength bonus on offhand attacks.
Interesting. Well, at that point, I'd say at 7th level, you could probably use the feat retraining stuff to switch that out once you get to 7th level, just to either make that class feature not useless or the feat that you took worthless.
Yeah. But then again, it still does 1.5 times the strength bonus for the main hand. So
which double slice doesn't do, which, yeah.
Yeah. So double slice is just for the offhand part, so you can still take it and then backswing just do your main hand still go up by 50%.
Right. Rapid attack. 9th level, a fighter can combine a full attack with a single move. He must forgo the attack at his highest base attack bonus, but may take the remaining attacks at any point during his movement. In addition, a fighter that dual wields or uses a double weapon must also forgo the offhand attack at its highest base attack bonus. This movement provokes attacks of opportunity as normal. Basically, what this allows you to do is spring attack, but you lose your most likely to hit attack, so you can still get every other attack off while you're spring attack. Personally, I've never used rapid attack in an actual campaign. I don't like losing my best chance of hitting just so I can make a full round while I'm moving, but I could definitely see where it could be useful.
I've actually not played a fighter up to 9th level, only to 7th. And even then, just looking at it, I'm thinking I would rather just Vital Strike.
Yeah, definitely if you're like two-handing anything, Vital Strike is one of the more stronger feat routes to go.
Especially by that level. Charge, Vital Strike. Since you're combining a move with it, you're only getting, at 9th level, you're only getting one attack anyways. At 9th level with it. Especially if you're foregoing the other attacks and you're dual wielding. So yeah, you might as well just Vital Strike it up and call it a day. Or if you're wielding a Gunblade, it just Gunblade shot. Gunblade piece, to be exact.
Right, get that trigger. 10th level, you get War Cry, which as a swift action, you can give your allies some inspiration to make them fight better. They get a +2 competence bonus on attack rolls, a +2 morale bonus on saving throws, and a +2 dodge bonus on AC. The effect lasts 1 round per 2 fighter class levels. A fighter can use War Cry a number of times per day equal to 3 plus his Constitution modifier. This is a much overlooked class feature in my opinion on the fighter, mostly because of how useful it can be as a swift action. Wait, is it a swift action? Yeah, as a swift action. And a +2 competence bonus on attack. It's basically an Inspire. Is it Inspire Courage?
Courage?
Yeah, I think Bard's Inspire Courage gives +1 to attack rolls and saving throws against fear effects, but this gives you like double that amount, and you get it on all saving throws, not just against fear, and you get a dodge bonus to AC. And by the time you get it, it already lasts for 5 rounds, which is most combats won't exceed 6 or 7 rounds anyways, so.
I actually totally forgot this was an ability. I came in like, man, they had no utility. This is the only utility they have.
Yeah, and it's pretty good utility too. I mean, the level you get it at makes it, you gotta wait your entire career to get it, because like we were talking about before we started recording, most campaigns end around between 13th and 15th level. So once you get this, you only have 4 to 5 more levels that you're going to be playing anyways. But even how small the bonuses are, it's still a pretty good bonus, especially for how often you can use it.
I mean, just the bonus on saving throws and the dodge to AC is great. And it's only a swift action with AC better. So basically, by then you probably have 5 rounds easy, 5 times to use it with 5 rounds. So it's at least 5 combats a day that you got.
Oh yeah. Let's see, at 11th level, you get Retaliation, which once per round allows your fighter to make a melee attack as immediate action against an opponent who hits the fighter with a melee attack, so long as the attacking creature is within your reach. It's exactly like it sounds. You get hit, you can hit them back once per round.
It's great.
And there's no limit to how many times you can do it per combat, so it's basically
Just
like your
round,
own...
right?
Yeah, once per round, but like as many times as you want per combat. So it's basically your own personal Thorns armor, but you still have to make an attack roll.
Mm-hmm. It works really well, too, if you're doing the riposte build I mentioned before, and you actually fail to do the whole parry and riposte.
Yeah, because you'll still get your counterattack even if you fail the riposte. You'll just take the damage. Yep. You want to go over the fighter advanced talents?
Oh! Yeah, so these are just fighter talents, except they're even better. Some of them aren't as good as others, but some of them do require some of the fighter talents from the previous list.
And you're not required to take these talents over the regular fighter talents. They just open up more options once you hit 12th level.
Mm-hmm. One of my favorites right off the bat is the expert weapon qualities. A fighter that selects talent chooses a specific weapon. They have a chosen weapon for, so it's a longsword, lance, or greatsword, and they can add a weapon quality. It might not sound like great when you can add disarm or mounted or set or whatever.
Tripping with a longsword is amazing.
That's true. But the thing I look at is light. For people who do weapon fighting, you can now do weapon fight with longswords or even knight swords as if with just a -2 instead of a normal -4. Or you have the overpowered grip trait that lets you wield a two-handed weapon with one hand. Now you're two-weapon fighting with great swords like a crazy maniac.
Yeah.
And things are just going to die. Another thing is pretty much... where is it? There's improved fast movement. Since you're going to take fast movement once, there's more fast movement for you.
Right.
One I think is also overlooked is reactionary, where you can add your constitution modifier to your reflex saves instead of your dexterity, because more than likely, most fighters don't have a lot of dexterity.
Oh yeah. You're going to have a lot more con than dex. You'll probably have a +2 dex at best.
Another one I was... Storm of Blows. It's like Rain of Blows, but you get 2 extra melee attacks at the thing. So it's a little bit better than Haste, what you get, but it does have a -4 penalty.
Right. Out of the advanced talents, I really like Second Wind, even though it's only once per encounter. As a standard action, you can regain a number of hit points equal to twice your fighter level, plus your constitution modifier. Not plus twice your constitution modifier, just twice your fighter level, and then your constitution modifier on top of it. Which doesn't sound like much, but if you have a pretty high con, you'll be able to get 11 or 12, 13, whatever hit points back in a single round, and that'll take some stress off your healer, especially if you're the only one that's taking any real damage during the fight. Though it does take a standard action to use, which is kind of the downside of it. Just being able to take that stress off your healer is that much better, especially in longer, drawn-out combats where the healer might have to spend time buffing everybody else instead of just healing you.
Or if they just don't have a healer at all, it's nicest to have. And they actually get these at 12 level, so it'd be more like 24 plus, depending on.
Yes. Yeah, that is right. Twice your fighter level. I was thinking half for whatever reason. So yeah, you do get a pretty decent chunk, and when you have most likely above 100 hit points at this point, I mean, that's, a quarter of your health or more. Or a little bit less, I mean. It just depends on how you're building.
Another one I'd like to mention is Arsenal. You mentioned about weapon aptitude, about how it's good. Weapon aptitude alone, I don't think is that good, but with Arsenal, you gain proficiency with all exotic weapons. In addition, you may change your chosen weapon as a full round action.
Right. And that does
that's what it
require
is.
weapon aptitude.
Yeah, and that does. And at least an exotic weapon proficiency. But you get all exotic weapons, which is, by wording, you could technically be like, I know how to use all firearms.
Right. And the fact that you're able to forgo that 1 hour training at the beginning of the day makes a big difference.
Yeah, being able to change it on the fly. So now you can be the master of arms, even though it still takes a full round action to change out. But that's all right.
Right. Devastating melee smash definitely deserves a mention, though it's only once per encounter. If you call it out before your attack, you can add your fighter levels to your damage with your melee weapon. But if you miss, the attempt is wasted and you're not able to use it again that encounter. But you can select it. You can take it more than once to gain another use per encounter. And the only prerequisite is melee power. Like I said, it's not super great, but for the people that really want to pump out damage more than anything else, I think it can shine in certain moments, especially if you're willing to give up your other advanced talents to take it more than once.
So, by the wording on it, it doesn't say that's only for one attack specific.
Nope, it just says once per encounter before making the fighter's attack roll. Which kind of says that it's only for one attack, but at the same time it doesn't, so the DMs rule it how you will.
Or Phil's going to be listening to us right now and go, oh,
I gotta fix that right away.
There's some nice ones like the Armored Sprint, which I believe it took you a run bonus feat, and it's easier for the heavy armor, even though if you take the talent, there's an older fighter talent in the other list. Also, strong back. I pretty much let you forgo the whole move issue of armor.
Right. Which definitely has its uses. I really like the Hustle advanced talent feat just because instead of taking a 5-foot step, you got 10-foot steps, so your legs are that much longer. Which is really good if you're trying to escape threat. But it does require fast movement.
Yeah.
Which, why aren't you going to take anyways? So.
Yeah.
Improved fast movement is another 10-foot on top of the 10-foot you're getting from fast movement. Uncanny dodge, improved uncanny dodge is all right if you decided to take uncanny dodge just because you can't get flanked anymore, and you can't get sneak attacked by flanking. So you're that much more resistant to damage. But I feel like a lot of people that are playing fighters aren't doing it to resist damage so much as to just hammer out buttloads of damage.
Yeah, which is just the whole thing that fighters just like. To finish off the build I was talking about earlier, they do get riposte mastery at this level too, which instead of being able to counterattack once per round, or is it once per? I think it's once per encounter on the first talent, but then now you can just do it every time you parry. So you parry a guy 5 times. You parry him for each time you parry the dude. You now counterattack.
Yeah, you get a riposte for everyone. But yeah, you do take a -5 to every riposte after the first.
And it does take your attacks of opportunity. But so if you're doing that, come back.
Oh yeah. Let's see. Stare down is nice if you want to be the samurai-like fighter where you strike somebody down and you're just like, look what I just did, fear me. And it's all opponents within 30 feet, and as a move action. But you do have to take the provoke fighter talent, which isn't that great in my opinion.
Which, with that, I think most people who are going for that, as far as the whole demoralized go, there's feats for that.
Yeah. Dazzling display. You don't even have to hit somebody. You can just spin your sword around in the air and demoralize everybody within 30 feet. So, if you don't want to take it as a fighter talent, you can always take it as a feat.
There's another one. I'm probably going to butcher it. Kurgan Smash?
Oh, Kranuggan Smash or whatever.
Every time you power attack, you demoralize. Or you're able to demoralize with split attack. You may only hit
is it just the person that you hit that you demoralize?
I think
that's still pretty good.
I think there's another step or another feat that when you kill a guy, you can make an intimidate on another dude.
Right.
I don't remember the name of the feat.
If I remember correctly, I know the old samurai archetype for fighter has stare down and mass stare down as like class features for it. Does the new samurai still have that?
I don't think so. I think just with the terrifying Iaijutsu stuff it does.
Right. Well, we'll just have to look at that when we get to that class later on in
Yeah.
the class features. Let's see. We don't got much more. The fighter gets an ability at every other level for the most part, but they're all pretty straightforward. Let's see. Pile Driver at 13th level as a standard action, you can make a single melee attack with your chosen weapon. If the attack hits, you can make a bull rush or trip combat maneuver attempt against your target as a free action that does not provoke attacks of opportunity. So, if you're focusing any sort of combat maneuvers, this can be really useful for getting it off without having to worry about taking a hit, and you get the damage from your attack at the same time. But this is another one of those class features that I didn't find myself using so often. Either because the situation didn't call for it, or my combat maneuver bonus was just garbage.
I mean, at least it's free and you don't provoke with it, even though failing trip combat maneuvers is punishing a lot of people.
Oh, yeah. And Bull Rush just pushes back anyways, so.
Yeah. Well, I mean, some people can put Bull Rush is so situational.
Yeah, so, against, like, monks and stuff, that 5 foot makes a difference. So, like, there's a lot of... I don't know. I feel like there's a lot more reach weapon users than the game accounts for, especially with how strong the reach can be. And there's a couple weapons that you can switch between it being a reach weapon and a non-reach weapon.
Yeah.
Let's see, Unstoppable Strike at 15th level. A fighter can take a standard action to make one attack with his chosen weapon as a touch attack that ignores damage reduction or hardness if attacking an object. Making a touch attack as a standard action on something that already has, at this point, a plus 15 on their base attack bonus is fucking ridiculous.
Yeah. But I think the big thing is the ignoring damage reduction or hardness, which is great when you're fighting weapons, like Diamond Weapon, who has a 50 hardness.
Oh, yeah.
So that's... so I'll be
super useful for sure.
Yeah, I'm sure there's great uses for things that you just can't bypass DR or hardness with it. Though the only thing that makes me sad about it is Holy Knight gets us at first level.
Right.
For all their attacks and bonuses. So it's kind of meh, but it's something at least. It feels more like this one and Pile Driver should have been fighter talents.
Right. No, I definitely agree. I would have liked to have seen Pile Driver and Unstoppable Strike as maybe advanced fighter talents. Pile Driver I could see as being like a normal fighter talent.
Mm-hmm.
And you just can only do it so many times per combat or whatever.
Yeah.
But Unstoppable Strike, yeah, an advanced fighter talent, taking it like at level 12, man, you could be throwing out some damage. And because I don't think there's a limit on how many times you can use Unstoppable Strike. No, just as a standard action you can do it.
But for a 15th level ability, it just feels really kind
underwhelming, yeah.
Yeah, and by then you've probably got so many other ways to break through any type of stuff like that, especially if you're playing a fighter. Or your outrageous melee from your full attack is going to be way more than that one single standard action will do.
Yeah. I mean, unless you're really desperate to get that extra damage off, getting past the damage reduction, your full attacks are going to overshadow the damage from it pretty easily, even with damage reductions applied. At 17th level, fighters get Devastating Blow. As a standard action, you can make a single attack with your chosen weapon, melee chosen weapon, at a -5 penalty. If the attack hits, it's treated as a crit and deals double damage. Now, it says it's treated as a critical hit. You don't have to confirm it or anything. It just deals double damage outright, correct?
Yeah. Yes. Well, the way this is worded, it's treated as a critical hit and deals double damage. So, really, the way I read that is if they have a weapon with a higher crit multiplier,
then it would also apply that crit multiplier instead of just the times 2.
And so I would assume it deals the crit and then double the normal damage.
Jeez, if so, that's man. Even for a single attack, that's crazy.
It is -5 penalty, but they can do it all day if they want.
Oh yeah. We'll have to talk to Vil about that and get some clarification on it. But man, that's a pretty strong ability. Pretty suiting to a fighter.
It is 17th level.
Yeah. Really late. Most characters won't make it to that level, but
Yeah.
If you
But
do,
then
boy.
he gets the half health, and then he goes Mighty Strikes him, and that's just useful anymore.
Yeah. At 19th level, fighters get double strike, which once per day a fighter can spend a full round action to double his number of attacks. He must declare his opponent beforehand and can't switch targets when he executes his double strike ability. So normally when you do a full round attack, if you knock somebody down before you finish all your attacks, you can switch to a different target and finish your full attack there. If you use double strike, you're just swinging at midair if you knock them down early. So you got to use it kind of wisely, but still a pretty good ability, especially at level 19. You get twice as many attacks. So against big tough bosses, man, you can stomp some of them down into the ground pretty easily.
Yep, you're just gonna absolutely destroy the mountain. Now, I do wonder if, and I'm sure because it says number of attacks, I would assume that this means all of his attacks, even if he's two-weapon fighting. And I wonder if you use Omni Strike in conjunction with it, if it would count those, since he is getting extra attacks.
Yeah, that would make Omni Strike that much more usable if so.
Yeah, but it takes 19 levels to do it.
Yeah, and to get the full effectiveness out of it, you got to dual wield. But man,
yeah,
you'd be cutting people to ribbons easily with that.
Or it could be mean. It could mean just his normal iterative attacks,
Yeah.
which would be fine too.
I mean, shit. I think even if you take greater weapon focus, or not greater weapon focus, greater two weapon fighting, you get 3 attacks total with your offhand, plus the 4 that you'd normally get from your main hand. So this would give you 14 attacks total.
Is that with Omni Strike?
No, that's just double strike with greater 2 weapon fighting.
So with like Omni Strike, we're getting like
28.
Like 28? What? Well.
Oh well, yeah. Wait, Omni Strike doesn't give you double. It just gives you 1 plus 1 every 4.
Whatever. So it'd be like.
You get 6 extra attacks. So 20 attacks.
19, 20. Yeah.
Friggin' ridiculous if you can use it with Omni Strike.
Starburst Stream.
Oh god, yeah. I'll never forget when I first started making homebrew classes for this system. You sent me a link to that. Oh my god, that destroyed my faith in a lot of people that create custom content for anything. God, that class was so broken.
For context, we're talking about a D&D homebrew from the D&D 3.5 wiki. It was called Starburst Striker. It was a homebrew class made from Prestige class, I think, made from
Sword Art Online.
Yeah, for Kirito, and like its final thing was called Starburst Stream. And it had like 20 something attacks. It was ridiculous.
It was broken. It was broken as all hell.
Yeah.
And I totally used that idea to make a class out of it later that wasn't as broken, but still.
Yeah.
Oh, you want to cover the capstone?
Yeah, one more. The easiest one probably of all of them. That's actually pretty good. Weapon Mastery. Also at 20th level. It says that like there's something else at 20th level they're supposed to get. The fighter has mastered his chosen weapon. Any attacks made with his chosen weapon automatically from all critical hits and have the critical hit threat range increased by 2. In addition, he cannot be disarmed while wielding his chosen weapon. That's a standard fighter Pathfinder.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think that is exactly the same on Pathfinder as it is on this one. Maybe the crit that you get from it isn't. But,
I think word.
Let's see. Yeah, at 20th level, a fighter chooses one weapon, such as a longsword, great axe, or longbow, which I think the caveat is your chosen weapon on FFd20's version. But any attacks made with that weapon automatically confirm all crit threats and have their damage multiplier increased by 1. So yeah, exactly the same. And in addition, it can't be disarmed while wielding it. And yeah, definitely nothing worth changing in that carryover. It's a really strong ability, and you have to get all the way to level 20 to get it, so once you get there, it's really satisfying to just have every single critical threat land, especially if you're using a weapon that has an 18 to 20, because if you take that improved crit, every 15 you roll, automatic crit.
Yeah, and speaking of crits, there's actually also a fighter talent that we didn't go over. For that, if you can lower, I think it's called critical or something.
It requires improved critical feat, for sure.
Yeah, so it's like it feels like it should definitely be like a advanced fighter talent, but you can get it as a regular.
It is critical strike. On the fighter's action, before
Yes.
making attack rolls for a round, he may choose to subtract a number from all melee attack rolls and add the same number to his critical threat range on all attacks with any weapon he has improved critical for, to a maximum of +5. Bonus is applied after doubling the crit threat range of his weapon from the improved critical feat. So if you're getting through that AC and you know you can do it fairly easily, then yeah, increasing your critical threat range that way can be pretty useful, especially with weapons like the Falcata or the Great Axe.
And double strike.
Oh, yeah.
Those 20 attacks we talked about earlier.
Jeez, yeah.
Body strikes isn't so good no more.
Yeah, not when you're critting every single hit without using a limit break. Well, I guess Omni Strike is a limit break, but...
Yeah, you don't have to. That's the cool thing about it.
Yeah. I think that covers all of the base fighters' class features. I know there's a lot of archetypes for the fighter. None that really stand out. I mean, there's the gladiator, which is exactly the same as the fighter, but they lose a proficiency with heavy armor and tower shields, and they get performance weapon mastery feat at first level as a bonus feat, and they get fame, which is really a situational class feature. And then there's
very campaign. Oriented.
You have to be like in. I feel like, what game had the gladiator added? Was the gladiator in 5?
Yes.
I know it was in Final Fantasy Tactics Advance, but it was a bongo only class.
But yeah, it was a secret class in 5. I only remember because I know I ended up trying to make an archetype out of it, but it never made its way to Village forums because I don't remember. I don't remember what happened to it. It just got lost in my computer somewhere.
Right. And like we said, it's pretty situational. You'd have to be playing in a campaign where your character's renown is actually brought to light and not just, oh, you guys saved this town. The next town you go to, they're not going to know anything about it.
Yeah, I mean, you go, I'm a fighter, and then you kill everything. Like, oh, yeah, we know you. We heard about you. Get out of here. Blooding up the carpet.
Right. Another one of those not so crazy archetypes is the Dirty Fighter, which solely focuses on combat maneuvers and dirty tricks. I think the biggest thing they get is double tricks, where when they perform a combat maneuver, they can apply 2 different conditions to their target instead of just one. And each penalty requires a separate action to remove. And at 17th level, they can apply 3. But that's, again, you're giving up rapid attack, reliable strike, and a fighter talent to just be better at combat maneuvers and dirty tricks, which, not that good. And even Pile Driver, which is pretty damn good, you're losing that for more ailments with dirty tricks at 13th levels.
Which I think if you're just taking the feats anyways, you get all that.
Right. Yeah.
So here, you don't have to worry about the,
Yeah, you don't have to have the prerequisites for those feats to do it, it's kind of nice.
But you also have to be a Sikh, which I don't think I've played with anybody or seen anybody play a Sikh.
I have not either. Personally, I don't like the ability score bonuses they get or any of their racial attributes. It's just, I don't know, not a favorable race. I can agree. They're always bad guys in the Final Fantasy games, with the exception of 12. No, even in 12, most of them are bad guys.
I mean, these are dirty fighters, so I mean...
Yeah. True that. We're going to step towards the better archetypes, the more used ones. The warrior recently got changed, to be honest. It used to be very heavily based off of two-weapon fighting, kind of like the warrior from Final Fantasy 14. Now it's more of a martial flexibility, study your enemy type class that you get bonuses for moving before you attack, or when you confirm a critical hit with your chosen weapon, you can increase the weapon's damage multiplier as an immediate action.
Yeah, I really like they get the martial flexibility at 5th level.
Yeah.
You only lose a reliable strike, which I think is all right. But the thing that really I don't like is know your enemy.
It replaces so many fighter talents. Yeah, you only get the one at 4th, 8th, and 12th, and 16th level. Those are the only talents you get. So you get half as many fighter talents.
Yeah.
just to give yourself a small bonus for 1 minute.
Which for the most part, like for the attack and damage rolls, it's good, but I mean you're already getting chosen weapon, so with that. But then there's the CMB, CMD, which is okay. I mean the armor class sensor is probably I think possibly the best ones since it's alright. And at least they, at 10th level they get being treated as having mobility feat, so they can at least help flank with whoever. I have to worry about so much about getting smacked attack swap. But the fighter talent loss sucks, even though you can get extra fighter talents as a feat.
Yes, which a lot of the class feats get overlooked. I mean, given they all just give extra uses of this ability per day, or like you said, extra fighter talents. I mean, if you'd rather take a fighter talent over the small handful of feats you may be able to get at 4th level, or 5th level, then I'd fucking take the fighter talents. Shit.
Yeah. There's just so much more you can.
Yeah, but know your enemy is definitely the biggest weakness of that archetype. Everything else is pretty cool. March flexibility, leaping attack. All you have to do is move 5 feet. You can take a 5-foot step and do a full round, and you get +1 to your damage and attack rolls. And then every 4 levels after 7th, you get another one. Telling Blow at 9th level just ignores up to 3 points of DR. Does not apply to damage reduction without a type, so if it's just DR everything, it doesn't work on that, but yeah. Not that bad. Deadly Crit we already talked about. Whirlwind Blitz just lets you use the Whirlwind attack feat as a standard action, and you can make a full round attack as a standard action. But that's their capstone, though, which replaces the amazing increased crit range. Yeah.
But, well, no. I was going to say that you could do Whirlwind Blitz with double strike, but I don't think you can because double strike requires you to do a full round action. So I wanted they go together.
I don't think they do, because the Whirlwind Strike, even using that as a standard action, it specifically says you have to use a standard action to use it.
Yeah. And the double strike specifically says it can spend a full round action, so.
Right.
So, grammar teacher is coming out like, can you? Or...
Yes, I may.
So, take that as you will. But I'm sure it's because double strike is specifically its own ability. I'm sure it will need a full round attack regardless, or full round action regardless.
Right. Now, which one would you rather go over first? Gunblade Specialist, Squire, or Soldier? Because those are the big 3, in my opinion, when it comes to fighters.
Oh yeah, because that's the 3. It was 4 before Samurai made it to a hybrid.
Yes.
Those definitely the ones that shines with everybody the most. Well, let's go down and listen to hit Gunblade Specialist first, since it's first in line.
All right, I know that one is one of your favorite archetypes, so I'll let you cover that one, because I honestly haven't played that one more than once. So I'll let you get started on that.
I've actually never got to play it, is the issue. I never played it in a game where like tech was really allowed. I've read a lot of NPCs that go. But yeah, so a Gunblade Specialist, pretty much he gives up heavy armor, proficiency good. He gets the Zokukin with Limit Break, which is pretty much what Mighty Strikes did, because later he'll get Trigger. That lets him on a critical hit do bonus bullet damage that can bullet by having to fire it. You don't have to worry about misfire, all that junk. But now, there's recently the Limit Break when Zokukin's been made to replace Mighty Strike, so that every time they hit, they get bonus bullet damage, but you don't get the Mighty Strike crit. So it kind of got nerfed in that regard. But they do finally get the Gunsmith ability to where they can actually start out with a battered Gunblade.
Right, and Gunblades are pretty expensive, so being able to start with one is a nice caveat.
I actually got around it once when I was thinking on building a character. I was doing a freelancer where I was going to do a Gunblade, and I picked this trait signature moves. And you choose a masterwork. You can get a masterwork item
up to 300, right? Oh, 900, yeah.
Yeah, up to like 900. So it's like 850 for a standard Gunblade. So I could forgo the honing to get Gunsmith and the battered weapon, just get a masterwork Gunblade right off the bat.
But then if it doesn't Gunsmith let you fix your Gunblade if it jams when you misfire, right?
No, if it's like the gunner one where if it misfires, no one can use it.
Oh, okay.
No one can use it properly. And, like, he's the only one that can use it properly. But
To
if he
begin with, yeah.
misfires, fuck. I hate misfires.
Oh
Definitely.
yeah, so do I. Trust me, I know.
It's so dumb. But anyways, so he gets trigger at 3rd level, which is what everybody loved about Final Fantasy VIII. You know, you press R1, you kill it. Basically, anytime you crit, you deal bonus bullet damage. You don't have to worry about that misfire or anything. You just deal it. And what's great about this, about trigger, is that if you have anything like a materia in your weapon, or even like a ring of fire, anything that's applying to your bullet, normal ammunition, will apply to this. So you could be doing, if you have a ring of fire, you're going to be dealing your weapon damage plus the d6 fire and the bullet damage and another d6 fire with the bullet, which is great. But that replaces overhand shot, which I think is totally worth it if you're creating a lot, which you will be later.
Oh yeah.
Then 4th level, they can finally replace, is the wording here, they may replace a fighter talent for gunblade techniques, which is just,
oh boy, they are so fun.
This was a recent edition I was actually able to talk Bill into doing, since they wasn't normally a part. Before Fighter was just kind of just I will a gunblade, but now they actually have the iconic Final Fantasy VIII.
You can finally be Squall or Cypher or Baron.
Yes. Or well, actually, I took out the big shots.
Oh, did you? Okay.
Yeah, I stuck specifically to like 2 trees of Squall or Cypher.
Gotcha.
And so, and depending on which one you do, you know, you just depending on each different technique does usually a melee attack and a bullet damage. And as you go up in their trees, essentially, they will add like a d6 of damage per whatever, and they all had different radiuses on how they work. Till you get they're either Lionheart or Hyperion, which is both their iconic abilities. The Hyperion, a fun fact was, I don't know if that's actually the name of the attack he used in the beginning intro. I just named it that since Squall's final weapon is called Lionheart and Cypher's weapon is actually called Hyperion, so that's what I stuck with.
Right. Which makes sense.
Yeah. So you can either hit a lot and then jump behind them like normal Lionheart, or you can blast them with a fireball and crap out of them and scar them. But other than that, the techniques add a lot more flavor to your class when you don't want to just pick a fighter talent. Or you don't have to pick them at all. Then, at 7th level, he gets Relentless Revolver. It replaces Backswing, which isn't too bad. This will work better later, finally, when you have Trigger. The Gunblade Specialist can, as a free action, increase the critical threat range by 4 for melee attacks with his chosen weapon. This acts with critical and similar abilities, but it's calculated after all other modifiers. If he does score a critical hit while using this ability, he takes a mouse penalty critical multiplier, typically reducing it to times 1 damage. But it gives you the bonus bullet damage.
Yeah, for a trigger.
Yeah. And so that's really what that's used for. And so you're probably going to be, at that level, you have like a 15 to 20. And by 19th level, I believe you've lowered it to 13 to 20. Did I say 19th? 9th level, when you get improved crit. If you take improved critical, you can lower it down to about there. And so just about almost every hit, you're finally popping bullets out like crazy, but that takes about 7 levels to actually do. And this is new. At 10th level, we added grit to it instead to replace Warcry, which he just gets grit.
Does he get?
He can also get a D.
Okay, yeah, I was about to ask that.
A single D, which he needs at 1st level for the misfires, honestly.
Yeah, clear the chamber or whatever.
Quick clear.
Yes.
Like, I found myself, anytime I play a gunner or a character with a gun or whatever who doesn't get quick clear,
misfire so often.
Yeah, I see myself taking defeat amateur gunsmith just to get the free quick clear D. Since really to use it as a standard action, you just have to have a grip point in. You don't have to actually spend it. You can spend it and do it as a move action. But that's cool, and it's off their wisdom bonus, which is expected because of the whole gun thing. But that replaces Warcry, which they lose their utility for it, but it at least gives them a D, which, unless you're using a reliable gun for your firearm, you're probably using it for clear. And there are 3 levels beyond, 13th level and every beyond 13th. He does get another point of grit and another gun. But the issue with them is that they have to be -4 his current level. So at 10th level, when he gets grit, it's going to be actually a 6th level or lower deed. So he's not even getting like cool deeds like the targeted shot.
Right.
But they do increase. It's still, every new deed he gets -4. So at 13th level, it's going to be 9, so on and so forth. 13th level, they replace Pile Driver. They get Deadly Critical, which when a Gunblade specialist confirms a critical hit with a chosen weapon, he increases the weapon's damage multiplier by 1 as immediate action.
Which pretty much negates Relentless Revolver's penalty, right?
Yeah.
Because they can be used together, right?
Yes. Just the issue with Deadly Critical, it can only be used once per day at 13th level.
Right.
But an additional time per day every 3 levels. Which is still good.
3 times a day at max level, so I mean that's yeah. 3 times a day you're just unleashing a flurry of Gunblade critical hits with gunshots at the same time, which is pretty fucking good.
And if you're not using Relentless Revolver at the time and you just get lucky enough to actually do get a normal critical,
even better, yeah.
×3 crit with your gun now. Unless you have some sort of way to make the blade a critical multiplier up, which is possible if you're doing Freelancer.
Oh, yeah.
But he loses Devastating Blow for a distracting shot. 17th level Gunblade Specialist can make a free range attack with Gunblade if they use the charge action. Scout towards his number of attacks of opportunities. Successful, the target must make a will save or become flat around. I think that's cool. It sucks at 17th level, but it's cool.
Reminds me of Dissidia during Squall's cutscenes when I forget who he's fighting, but they like rush at him and he does aerial circle. And kind of like that sort of thing. I mean, obviously you're not going to be using actual aerial circle when you do it, but
yeah,
just being able to react to somebody charging at you with a free gunshot is pretty useful.
Yeah. I think that's it. He does get access to some new fighter talents. Close combat shot. He gets the ability to make a ranged attack with a gunblade while in a threatened area for attack of opportunity. You got to be 8th level. You have to have point blank shot, precise shot, and weapon focus. Very taxing to get. More than likely, you're not. If you're that close, you're using the blade.
Right.
You're not using the gun. If you're using the gun, you're using it on the trigger, especially at 8th level when you have Relentless Revolver. Range precision. Add +1 damage to all ranged weapons. Sound may be selected multiple times in an effect stack. Not bad. +1 damage to your bullet. But there's better fighter talents.
Yeah.
Then you get some new advanced fire talents. Master Rapid Shot when wielding a blade. The Gunblade Specialist may make 2 extra attacks with his Rapid Shot feat instead of only 1. Which is cool. You still need point blank shot, rapid shot, and weapon focus Gunblade. And so it's pretty cool.
Yep,
So
you get that 1
that,
extra instead of just 2, you get 3.
Yeah. This is cool because mostly firearms don't get. It's basically mini shot, but only for gunblades.
Right.
But mini shot is on a single attack, but you still get 3 hits. That's a big thing about it. Or 2 extra hits. 3 if you only have 1 attack, but if you're at 12th level, you're getting. But it's still cool. Uncanny Precision with per encounter. Before the Gunblade Specialist makes an attack roll, he may choose to add half of his fire level to Gunblade. If he misses, the attempt is wasted. Sound may be selected with time, granting 1 additional attempt per encounter. So, requisite precision. I think it means range precision.
Right. I think so too.
So with that, it's a fighter ability just like that we just talked about.
But it's for Gunblade, it's shit. It is
Devastating melee smash. Yes, devastating melee smash, but for your gun. I think it adds level. No, yeah, devastating melee smash adds your whole level. This adds half your.
Right.
And it's like 1 encounter. What are both 1s per encounter? But I mean, if you're able to do that with 4-round attacks, I mean, pump that with Master Rapid Shot. But I mean, said before, by this level especially, you're more than likely. Most people use the Gunblade for melee and use the bullet as an extra flavor thing with the Gunblade expertise or trigger.
Right. But Uncanny Precision adds it to all damage from your Gunblade, so the slashing and the bullets, so.
Yeah. But it does say before he makes his attack roll, so I wonder It doesn't say specifically, so I guess it could. I guess it could apply to just range attacks as well.
I would think so.
Even though he's not making an attack roll with the firearm. If he's doing bonus damage, that is. Which he more is. But yeah, then that's it.
Alright, then we'll move on to the Squire then. Nothing changes at first level for the Squire. At second level, the Squire gets a stamina pool. They gain a reservoir of stamina that they can draw upon to fuel their talents that they will soon discuss. The stamina pool has a number of points equal to 5 times his Constitution modifier, so obviously having a really high Constitution modifier is great for this archetype. And the pool increases by 5 plus his Constitution modifier per level. So, like I said, the higher your Constitution modifier, the more you'll be able to use your talents. The pool refreshes once per day when the Squire rests for a full 8 hours, and sustained modes take up a static amount of stamina points from the Squire's maximum stamina pool, and most of the sustained modes stack. At second level, they also start gaining their talent trees.
Which we should note that they may pick these or fighter talents.
Right. You're not required to take a... do you have to choose one specific tree, or can you just take talents out of whatever tree?
You get the Guts tree, and then you get 2 specifically from Sword Saint.
Gotcha.
So you can choose. So you have to choose Guts. You automatically get that tree, and then you can choose like a Defender or Vanguard from the Sword Saint. But you can't get any other Sword Saint trees after that.
Gotcha. And we're not really going to go over the Sword Saint talent trees right now because we're eventually going to go over that class as a whole.
Yeah.
But they do have a lot of sword technique type stuff, which is pretty useful. The Guts talent tree, which you get regardless, you get, let's see, the first talent you get in there is a Stone Throw, which costs 5 stamina points, and as a standard action you can take a small stone from nearby, just pick it up, whatever, out of your pouch, off the ground, and you can make a 30-foot ranged attack, which is better than most thrown weapons at second level. If successful, you deal 1d4 points of bludgeoning damage plus your strength modifier, and the enemy has to make a will save, DC 10 plus half your fighter's level and their strength mod, or he's dazed until the end of your next turn. Daze at second level is a lot stronger than a lot of people will give it credit for, even with the damage being so low.
It might not do a lot of damage. Yeah, but you can up with Strong.
Yeah, which makes your Stone Throw deal 1d6 points of bludgeoning damage plus your strength modifier instead of the 1d4. Not a huge jump, but still a damage jump, especially if you're going to be using Stone Throw a lot for the daze. Bashing Throw, another one that modifies your Stone Throw. You can take a -2 penalty to your attack rolls to aim for the head. If successful, you also inflict Confused status for 1 round if they fail to save. So, are they dazed and confused?
Yeah. Well, I think the confuse is supposed. I think it's supposed to be confused instead of dazed.
Instead of dazed, got it. I'll have to have Bill fix that because it says it also inflicts confused. But if they're dazed, they can't do anything anyways.
Yeah.
Accumulate as a swift action. The Squire can activate this talent as a sustained mode, so it drops their stamina, but they keep it on for as long as they want, right?
Yeah, they can activate it, and well, it's. I know whenever I play with Bill with these talents, we've always just kind of gave the rule of if there's a sustained mode that you want always on, just say it's on, and then just make sure that your stamina pool is cut the way it's supposed to.
Yeah.
And so you can. So we've always ruled it as in you can keep it on all the time. Just you won't be using those points that it's keeping.
Right. It blocks off your max. It uses up 15 stamina points of your maximum stamina pool, but for every round in combat that you gain a +1 bonus on your melee damage rolls to a maximum of +2 per fighter level. So as soon as you turn it on and combat starts, every round after the first, you get a +1 to your damage. And as long as it stays on, your damage just keeps going up, kind of like in Final Fantasy Tactics, where you just spend every round spamming Accumulate so that you eventually hit max damage and just one-shot everything.
But of course, this one actually has a cap on it.
Yes, not so broken in this as it is in Tactics. Focus, at the cost of 10 stamina points as a move action, you can gain +2 morale bonus to strength for every 4 fighter levels after second. And this ability lasts for a number of rounds equal to your Constitution modifier. This one's not a sustained mode. You just gain +2 to your strength, which has a lot of benefits. I mean, you get more to your attack bonus, you get more to your damage. And since it's every 4 levels after second, it's basically like chosen weapon, but you get that on top of it at the cost of stamina.
Also applies to skills too. If for some reason you need to focus on climbing, there you go.
Yeah, exactly. It's not like a straight damage bonus. It's a lot more, has a lot more utility. Tackle, at the cost of 10 stamina points. As a standard action, the squire can slam an enemy adjacent to him by making a melee attack against the target's CMD. If successful, the target is knocked prone. The ability doesn't affect creatures of a size category larger than the squire. Knocking anything prone, especially if you're a melee combatant, is a pretty strong ability because, oh man, you get a +4 to your attack rolls against prone targets. Yeah. I mean, that right there should be a good enough reason to want to use tackle. And I mean, it only costs 10 stamina points. What were you gonna say?
I said it has not even like trip, where if trip will knock you prone, but if you fail, you're screwed. Where here, it's just you just tackle or you miss.
Yeah, you deal your damage, and they either get knocked prone or they don't. Counter tackle, once per round as immediate action. If an opponent attacks the squire in melee combat, he can activate his tackle as an attack of opportunity. You still spend the stamina for tackle, but you get that. It's basically retaliate, but with tackle, and you still get a chance to knock them prone with it. So even that much better. Tailwind, not the last. I think they got 2 other abilities after this. It's just they're not bulleted on this list. Counter tackle. We already went over that. Tailwind, at the cost of 5 stamina points, as a swift action, the squire can boost an ally's movement speed by 30 feet for 1 round. It's basically like a half haste, but only for a round. But it also only costs 5 points of stamina, so, I mean, I don't see why you wouldn't use it if you're not right in the front lines right away.
Get up there, chosen God! Slow! Jeez!
Yeah,
that's all it's for.
Yeah, pretty much. You can give any of your super slow dwarves or heavy armor wearers that extra movement that they're missing out on by being lamers wearing heavy armor. They also get cheer, which, at the cost of 5 stamina points as a move action, the squire lets out a cheer to rally his allies, much like Jonathan needs. Granting the squire's allies within a 30-foot radius a +1 morale bonus to attack rolls and an additional +1 for every 4 levels after second. If the squire is in the accumulate sustain mode, he also grants his allies the effect of that mode. So they get the damage and the attack roll bonus instead of just the attack roll bonus. Cheer lasts for a number of rounds equal to the squire's charisma modifier, which is a little different because a lot of the other stuff is strength and constitution modifier based. But I mean, if you have that little bit of charisma, then I mean, hey, might as well use it.
Yeah.
Shout increasing the cost to 20 stamina points when the squire uses cheer, and now grants its bonus to his allies' caster levels to spells. It now grants its bonus as caster levels to spells. Gotcha.
I was like, what?
Yeah, it's worded very oddly on the page.
Yeah.
In addition, cheer also grants fast healing too, and the effects of tailwind to all allies within the area of effect. Pretty strong. That's a pretty good ability. I mean, it costs a lot to use, but man, tailwind and cheer and fast healing, and they get caster level bonuses if you have casters. Given you do have to take tailwind and cheer to take it.
Yeah, and that's automatically 2 talents.
Yes.
And 20 stamina points, that's a lot.
Oh, yeah.
Especially if you're doing other stuff. Especially if you have tailwind, or if you already hit tailwind, if you've already hit accumulate, you've already burnt through most of your stamina, probably about it.
Yeah, you'll be able to use shout like once before you're out of stamina early on.
Yeah.
For the most part, but still a pretty damn effective ability, especially at later levels when your stamina is gigantic because of your con mod. But that's about it for Squire. It's a pretty short ability tree. It basically just swaps out fighter talents for the Guts talent tree, but you can also, like we mentioned, take the Sword Saint talents, which we won't really get into because that would take quite a bit more time than we have to cover those.
Yeah, that's gonna be a long video.
Oh yeah, I can't wait to make that one. But we will say that those are a lot more combat oriented than supporting, like the Guts tree is. But I think that pretty much covers the Squire. What were you gonna say?
Specifically, if you take Defender or something you can do. They do have specific trees that are big utility.
Right.
But we'll get into that.
Alright. The last archetype we're going to cover is the Soldier, the iconic fighter from the Final Fantasy series. Fucking Cloud.
This is what everybody's waiting for.
Oh, I know. They thought we'd cover it sooner, but here we go, the last one to get to it. Okay, a soldier's proficient with all simple weapons and a single weapon used with his chosen weapon class feature. They're also proficient with all armor except heavy weapons and shields, which go figure, no shields.
I would like to note right there just the fact that you can be proficient with your chosen weapon, even if you're not proficient with it in the first place.
Oh yeah, I know. Any katanas, fucking Buster Blues.
I just feel like that's an overlooked thought, is that like, oh yeah, Buster Blades. You don't need to waste a proficiency on it. Just use it as your chosen weapon. Or not to be using weapon aptitude with.
Yeah. One of the few fighter archetypes that, besides the Gunblade Specialist, that changes the limit breaks of the fighter. They can take the Blade Beam limit break, which replaces either one, obviously Omni Strike, of the fighter limit breaks, so that you can allow your soldier to make waves of powerful energy burst forth from his weapon and collide with an enemy up to 60 feet away. That deals 2d6 points of non-elemental damage plus an additional 2d6 per 4 fighter levels after first, which then explodes out into a cone for an additional 30 feet for half damage. A reflex save halves the cone damage. Pretty damn good, to be honest.
Yeah, not bad. Exactly how it is in the game. It's iconic too. So that's when I would probably replace either with probably Omni Strike.
Yeah. I mean, Omni Strike is Cloud's limit break, but let's face it, Blade Beam and Mighty Strikes would be ridiculous on a soldier. At first level, the soldiers get Giant Weapon Wielder. They're allowed to wield two-handed melee weapons intended for creatures one size category larger than themselves, treating it as a regular two-handed weapon. They do take a -2 penalty on attack rolls when using oversized two-handed weapons, but they can still wield large-sized two-handed weapons. And if they're large, they can wield giant-sized two-handed weapons, which is fucking ridiculous.
And that's totally worth a fighter talent.
Oh yeah. I mean, yeah. Just one fighter talent for that ability. That's all it replaces. Your first one at level 2. At level 4, and every other level thereafter, the soldier receives an infusion of Mako energy. They get a +2 inherent bonus permanently to Strength, Dex, or Con. However, they do take a -1 to one of their mental stats, Intelligence, Wisdom, or Charisma, due to Mako poisoning. You can't decrease a stat below 3.
Jonathan
Every other level after this, man, let's just think about that for a minute. 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20. For 9 levels, you get +18 ability score points by level 20 from an ability you get at 4th level.
Jonathan got really buff, but really dumb.
Oh, I believe it. I believe it. This is a really powerful ability, mostly just because of how much it can affect your damage output, or if you want to be that guy, how often you're dodging shit with your AC. But most people are going to buff their con and strength with it, and probably get rid of charisma, because you don't need to be charismatic when you're a soldier.
Yeah. Now, it does replace fighter talent, which I think can significantly weak.
That is right. If you choose to take the Mako infusion, it does replace a fighter talent.
But greatly, you don't have to. So you can just kind of just dab into the infusion here and there and get what the fighter talents you need.
Exactly. You can just take the ones you want and be like, I'm just going to buff my strength and con now.
Yeah.
At 5th level, soldiers get Incredible Heft. A soldier becomes more skilled at wielding weapons intended for creatures one size category larger than himself. The penalty on attack rolls for using such weapons is reduced by 1, so they're only taking a -1 on those attack rolls, including when using oversized two-handed weapons. At 8th level and every 3 levels thereafter, the penalty is reduced by another 1, minimum being 0. So already at 8th level, you're not taking penalties for wielding a weapon larger than your size category, unless it's a two-handed weapon.
Yeah.
But it replaces Reliable Strike, which, like we mentioned at first, it's an ability that's easily forgotten about. At 9th level, soldiers get Unstoppable Momentum. They gain a +1 bonus on combat maneuver checks and to their combat maneuver defense while wielding a weapon sized for a creature of a larger size category. So as long as you're wielding that big-ass weapon, you get a bonus to your combat maneuver checks and to your combat maneuver defense. And at 12th level, and every 3 levels thereafter, that bonus goes up by another 1. When wielding oversized weapons, the soldier can attempt to bull rush, drag, overrun, reposition, or trip creatures up to 2 size categories larger than himself, so he's already a Titan fighter at this point.
Yep.
However, the ability does replace rapid attack, which, I mean, if you take the fighter talent Rain of Blows, you're fine. Mako Perfection. One of the, I don't need a black mage or a white mage on my team abilities. At 10th level, the soldier can use the Mako energy inside of him to great effect, and he becomes affected by Haste, Protect 3, and Shell 3 for 1 round per 2 fighter levels, so for 5 rounds when you first get it. And you can use it a number of times per day equal to 3 plus your con mod as a swift action. Though you are fatigued, kind of like if you go into a rage after the effect ends. This ability replaces Warcry.
It does replace Warcry, but this is way better than Warcry.
Oh yeah, it is. You get more
Even though
movement
it's just
speed,
you.
more AC, plus 1 of your attack bonus, 1 extra attack, plus, was it plus 6 deflection from Protect 3, and then however much is it? Do you get spell resistance?
It'll be a plus 6 to your saving.
Yeah, plus 6 to saving throws from Shell 3. Pretty strong. Pretty damn strong. The fatigue doesn't matter because by the time it runs out, you're probably out of combat anyways from smashing your Buster Sword into their assholes. Oh man, the bread and butter of the soldier. Soldier techniques at 11th level. And every other level thereafter. So every odd level after 11. You gain a new soldier technique at the indicated level. You can use... A soldier may use any of the currently available soldier techniques up to 3 plus Constitution modifier times per day. These are the cloud limit breaks for the most part. You got Braver, Cross Slash, Clam Hazard, Finishing Touch, and Meteor Rain. Oh wait, no. Yeah. But they all come in order. This is like the last of the archetype stuff, but still the bread and butter. At 11th level, you get Braver. You can make a running leap and slam the weapon down on your opponent. Soldier charges at an opponent and makes a single attack at his highest base attack bonus. If it hits, the attack deals an additional 1d6 points of damage per 2 fighter levels. In addition, the target must make a reflex save, DC 10 plus half the fighter level plus Constitution modifier, or is knocked prone. Like we said earlier, knocking anything prone is definitely what you want to do if you're wielding a melee weapon for that plus 4 bonus to your attack rolls. Braver replaces retaliation, so you're not going to be a tank and hit stuff right afterwards type of soldier, but meh. You can still take parry and riposte if you have the fighter talents for it. So 13th level, you get Cross Slash. The soldier uses this powerful skill to utilize 2 Mako-infused sword slashes and adds incredible force to immobilize and crush the target from both sides. You make 2 attacks at plus 2 to each of the attack rolls, both of them adding plus 2d6 points of damage. So for each weapon, you get another 2d6 added to your damage. Or each attack, sorry, not each weapon. If both attacks connect, the target makes a fortitude save, DC 10 plus, half your fighter level, the typical fighter DC calculation, or they're immobilized for 1 round per level, so 13 rounds if you hit.
Yeah.
Pretty crazy. I mean, just can't move for 13 rounds.
They're shut down.
That ability replaces Pile Driver.
Wait, just be honest with that great anyways.
Yeah, I can agree with that.
Yeah.
At 15th level, they get Clem Hazard. The soldier infuses his weapon with energy and swings it towards the enemy, creating a large explosion of power in a 20-foot radius. Creatures in the area of effect take 1d6 points of non-elemental damage, plus an additional 1d6 per 2 fighter levels, unless they make a reflex save, DC 10 plus half the fighter level, plus Constitution modifier for half damage. This ability has a range of 100 feet.
So...
Pretty self-explanatory.
Yeah, this is the only technique I have an issue with because it's not the correct Clem Hazard.
Yeah, I feel like it should be like a melee attack that does this effect instead of you can just fire a ball of energy.
I made a blade for the Blade Master. One of the techniques was Clem Hazard, but I used the actual cloud version of it where he stabs them and then flies up in the air, cutting them. And that's what this one should be. This is more of the Beatrice from 9 explosion that he's talking about.
Right.
It's still cool.
100-foot range is pretty strong for someone who's normally hitting stuff with a melee weapon, but I'm not the one who made the archetype, so I can't complain, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, it's nice that they have a range attack.
Yeah.
instead of just being just my Buster Sword.
Which is true.
It does take 15 levels to hit.
Does take 15 levels to get it. That is very true. And it replaces Unstoppable Strike.
Yeah.
At 17th level, they get Finishing Touch. The soldier spins in a circle, slashing with a held weapon and creating a cutting whirlwind all around their body in a 30-foot radius burst. Creatures in the area of effect take 1d10 points of wind damage plus an additional 1d10 per 2 fighter levels unless they make a reflex save, 10 plus half fighter level plus constitution modifier for half damage. Nothing too crazy, you just deal wind damage, 1d10 in a burst. Replaces Devastating Blow. Pretty straightforward. And then the Soldier Capstone at level 19, not the Fighter Capstone, but the last ability soldiers get replaces Double Strike. The broken shit we were talking about earlier that, honestly, if Soldier had Double Strike, nobody would want to play against it.
Just quit.
Yeah, it's over. At 19th level, the Soldier calls on deep reserves of inner Mako energy, conjuring up to 4 10-foot radius flaming spheres and launches them downward towards the ground, resembling a meteor shower. The Soldier directs each of these spheres within 30 feet of each other. Those within the area of effect take 5d6 points of damage, half fire, half earth. A reflex save, 10 plus half the fire level, plus constitution modifier for half damage. Creatures hit with multiple meteors must make a reflex save for each meteor they're hit by. And the ability has a range of 100 feet. So another ranged attack for the fighters. This one is a lot more balanced, in my opinion, than Clam Hazard is. But, I mean, the damage is, if you hit with all 4 meteors, it's a lot more damage than you're going to get with Clam Hazard.
I mean, the Clam Hazard one is in a 20 radius.
Yeah.
Whereas, and I think Clam Hazard only be 10d6 at 20, whereas this is straight up 4 or 5d6, so it's already...
Yeah, 20d6 if you hit with all. Half fire, half earth, which is... I think Clem Hazard is non-elemental damage.
Yeah. And these are 10-foot radiuses, too.
Yeah. But they all have to be within 30 feet of each other.
Yeah. Which more than likely they're going to be.
But a lot more useful than Clem Hazard, damage-wise and range-wise. But again, you're also waiting until 19th level to get it, so... but that about covers the fighter. What are some notable fighters from the series that you can think of? Obviously, Cloud and Squall, and the iconic Warrior of Light from Final Fantasy 1.
Then yeah, there's that, and then Ramza for the Squire.
Yeah, he is for the most part a fighter when it comes down to it. I mean, you can build him however you want, but he starts out as a fighter type class for sure.
By default, he's always like considered a Squire, like he gets Ultima and all that.
Right.
Other fighters, Titus.
Yeah.
Or Titus, depending how your pronunciation is for him.
Yeah, Final Fantasy X's main character.
The poster boy, I would say poster boy Warrior of Light in a Realm Reborn of Final Fantasy 14. But you could also argue that could be like a Rager for Beastmaster. Take that how you will.
Yeah, I can see that.
Or you could be the Warrior archetype specifically if you really want to get into it.
Yes.
Other than that, most of the jobs before 7 didn't have specific fighters. I don't think there's a fighter in 6 specifically, is there?
Well, Cayenne is a samurai, which would have been a fighter had we done this a lot sooner than the samurai got its own class.
5, everybody could be a fighter.
Yeah.
And that's when it comes to job system, becomes everybody can be it. So.
Yeah, in 3, I would say Ingus is personally the character I see as a fighter the most, just because of his background. But again, that's another game that has a job system, so you can make them however you want.
Yeah.
I would also, it's a stretch, but I could see Lightning as a fighter, even though she gets the elemental strikes and the magics. But everyone in 13 gets magic anyways, so.
Basic Lightning before Lassie.
Yes, definitely. Blitz,
Commando
and,
Lightning.
yeah, all that good stuff.
Yeah, I about forgot about her.
But I think, what about 15. Is there anybody in 15 that is fighter-ish?
Uh,
I haven't played that one, so I wouldn't be able to comment on
the,
those characters really.
where they function so differently, I would say Gladiolus, even though he really functions more as a knight, even though he wields a greatsword. But he wields a greatsword and a shield, so he's kind of just half and half. Noct is just kind of his own thing. He's the closest to a fighter, but he also throws magic flash, so it's kind of hand in hand.
Right.
With that, Ignis is more of a thief or a dragoon, depending on what weapon you give him, because they can interchange weapons, and those can interchange what techniques they use, so they're on and off. 12, I would say Bosch.
Yeah, Bosch. I mean, he starts as a sword and board, but he's definitely a fighter when it comes down to the techniques he starts with. Because I think I don't even think he has any skills available to him when you get him outside of his quickening. Maybe.
Yeah, his quickening is very. At the start, it's very like Dark Knight-ish, fulminating darkness.
Yeah, fulminating darkness is the one he starts with. I think he does that black Kamehameha.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, Bosch is very fighter-esque in his style and the weapons he starts with.
Ash, I guess. You could also
another sword and board character. Yeah.
Yeah. But she goes two-handed later when she gets the Sword King and all. If anybody ever crap weapons mechanically, can make Vaughn a fighter.
He's a rat slayer. I mean, he
Yeah.
can just stick to daggers for all I care.
Tomato head slayer.
Yeah, right. Final Fantasy Tactics Advance and Advance 2, the main character starts as the soldier class, which is basically just a fighter. They wield one-handed swords and shields, or just two-handed swords. So,
Yeah.
And they don't get really much utility. They just get the power break, armor break type stuff. Just like Orin, who is also a fighter, but you could also call him a samurai, based on his weapon choice.
Yeah, and the Bushido.
Yeah, his limit breaks are very samurai.
Yeah.
But I think that about covers it for the fighter.
Yeah, about it.
Right.
Lots of archetypes. I think he has one of the most archetypes of all the classes, too.
Yeah, when it comes down to amount of things that you can build, the fighter is one of the more versatile melee combatants. Definitely.
Yeah, if you just want to play something that absolutely just devastates, and it's fighter.
If you enjoy slugfests, fighter is your man.
Ultimate slugger.
So, what would you rate the fighter class?
Oh, I would rate it as like in total, or would you like? We'll just do a total, I guess.
Out of 5 Kupos.
Out of 5 Kupos, I would give it like 3 Kupos.
All right, 3 Kupos out of 5 for the fighter. All right.
And that's because while it's super strong, it's really good in melee. It's so good in melee. But as someone who's played it, it's boring as shit to play.
Yeah, you gotta really. I agree. I'd say 3 out of 5 Kupos. You really have to really enjoy just smacking stuff with a sword all day and not doing much else to get the most out of a fighter.
And that's all you really do, unless you're doing an archetype like Gunblade Pistol Sword, Squire, or a Soldier that has a little bit more flavor to them. Otherwise, you're kind of just walking up doing math and you just smack it and it dies, and your GM's looking at you like, "What are you doing, Jonathan?" And then now the whole party hates you because now they didn't get a turn because you shot a thing mighty strikes.
Fucking Jonathan, ruining the game.
But otherwise, like I said, good class, but because of how boring it can be, or how it can make other classes go, "Oh my God, here comes the fighter, let me hold his purse." It makes it hard to play.
Right.
Or hard to want to play. But it is an easy class to pick up, and it can be really rewarding for players who know what.
Yeah, for people that are starting to play Pathfinder, or FFd20 Fighter is definitely one of the more beginner-friendly classes to get into, just because of how single-minded the fighter class is, in the sense of you're just doing this one thing for the most part.
Yep, and you don't even have to participate in perception checks because you don't got any.
Yes. But that about covers it. So what we'd like is for any of you listening out there to give us some requests on what class you think we should cover next. We're specifically starting with only the core classes for FFD20. So we've already done fighter, so Black Mage, White Mage, Thief, Beastmaster, uh,
Archer.
Bard, Archer, Dragoon, Knight, Monk, a Red Mage. Yep.
Yeah.
Did you say Blue Mage?
No, Red Mage.
Yeah,
I was making sure you said Red Mage. I can't remember.
Yeah, Red Mage is one of the core classes. So yeah, Archer, Bard, Beastmaster, Black Mage, Dragoon, Fighter, which we've already covered, Knight, Monk, Red Mage, Thief, and White Mage. Any of those classes we're willing to cover next. We'd just like to get some input on what you guys think we should do. And that'll be it for this time. Hopefully you'll come back and see us at the FFD20 Crystal Hub. This is Luphey.
This is Kayos.
And we're signing